A really warm welcome to this neural flossing flow with me, Celeste. Today we are going to be looking at a few different nerves that are in your legs, in your arms, and remember you can also floss the spinal cord. And just as a quick warning label before we jump in, remember to keep your neural flosses around a 3 out of 10 intensity. You know, often we come from a yoga background and we're given the encouragement, really push through, feel the muscles change, go a bit deeper, but it's very actually it's actually counterproductive when you're working with nerves specifically, because nerves are easily irritated. I also want you to remember that you are one big nerve. In anatomy, for the sake of convenience, we give different sections different names. But much like a spider web, if I had to pull on one end of the spider web, everything else is going to move. It's exactly the same for your nervous system, and it's exactly the same for a neural floss. So to get started, we're just going to tune into our breath, 3 slow cycles on your back. Have a lie down. And placing your knees up to the sky, feet flat on the ground. Take a couple of really slow breaths into your belly, your ribs, your chest, your back. Feeling everything get smaller as you breathe out. And once you've reached the end of your exhale, breathe out a little bit more. Inhale again. And slowly breathe out. We'll do one more of these mindful breaths. Fantastic. And we'll actually get started with our first floss, shall we? We can do it really comfortably from this position. One leg is going to lift straight up to the sky. So it's your right leg. Let's begin with it. And you're going to just point and flex the foot. And you might not feel much, maybe just a little bit of muscle tension. And so if that muscle tension isn't changing, that sensation isn't changing, it means we're not really on the nerve. So flex the foot and bring the leg a little bit closer until you start feeling that the point and flex changes the sensation on the back of the leg. Once you're like, oh yeah, okay, it's off when I point and on when I flex, that's going to give you an indication when you're at the right level. Now we are going to keep it a 3 out of 10 intensity, but what we're going to try now is we're going to flex the foot and actually lift the brain up and off the floor and then place it back down. So we're actually pulling now on the opposite end of the nerve as we lift and lower the head 5 times. And then the last one, I'm actually going to get your strong core muscles to fire up, because we're going to stay up in this little flexed crunch position. Bring the leg maybe a little bit closer if you feel you're gaining additional range. And then let's bend and stretch the knee. So what we've done is we've actually pulled on the far end of the nerve, the top end of the nerve, and now we're flossing a different, what we call a driver. We're using the joint of the knee to change the driver. Lovely. Now we could also do the hip, but for time's sake, let's move on. I want you to lift the left leg in the air, and we start our point and flex. Hello, hamstrings. If you're like, give me more, Sally, flex the foot, bring it a little closer, and then point and flex again until you're like, yeah, something is different now. As I point and flex, I feel almost an electrical sensation. And that sensation traces a very clear pathway. These are 2 qualities of a nerve, a neural sensation. Keep the flex. Let's now tug on the brain part of the nerve as we lift the head and lower it back down 5 times. And then on the last one, we're going to keep our crunchy vibes, and we're going to bend and stretch the knee. You're welcome to hold onto the leg if you prefer. Great. Okay, so what nerve was this? Well, in the back of your leg, you have one called the sciatic nerve, and it branches at the back of the knee. And the one that we were pulling on is the one called the tibial nerve. That's when you just literally pull your toes towards your nose. Let's swap legs again. And what I want you to do is bring the leg again to where you feel that 3 out of 10 intensity. We're going to keep our head actually on the floor for this one, but you are going to bring the leg as close as you can until you reach your sweet spot. And then we're going to just turn the foot into inversion and eversion, i.e. from the ankle, you're doing like a little foot tilt. Foot looks to the left, foot looks to the right, sole of the foot shining, left, right, left, right. And what you'll feel is that if you move your right foot, the sole of the foot to shine to the left, and you flex the toes along the back of your calf, around the back outer edge of your ankle, you're going to get a little tug. So this is your sural nerve, S-U-R-A-L. And what we're going to do is use the driver of the hip by bringing the leg in like a little mini kicking motion into the body and again away. Yeah, hello, sural nerve. You can keep adapting the shape of the foot as the intensity decreases, adding a little bit more inversion and a little more dorsiflexion, toes to nose. Beautiful. Let's try that on the other leg. Bring that foot down, lift up through the left leg, toes to nose, leg comes in close, inversion, eversion through the ankle. Potentially paying attention to where else the sensation is really strong. For example, on this side for me, ooh, back of the knee, I'm like, hello. Okay, let's keep our inversion, sole of the foot shining towards the right this time. The driver that we're going to explore is from the hip. So in little pulling motions, you're bringing the leg closer and further away. You're looking to keep the sensation on the back lateral border of the calf, the outer border. And if you start to lose it, you have to just change the shape of the foot. Bring that leg a little closer. Nice. And we've actually got one more nerve in this shape that we're going to explore. So left foot down. Let's change back up to the right foot. Again, give me inversion, but point your foot. So now we're going to the peroneals. Bring the leg in nice and close. And I'm going to get you actually to choose. You can either point and flex the foot, bend and stretch the knee, or kick the leg towards you. I'm going to choose the knee for myself. So you're choosing the driver of your choice to explore the peroneal nerve. And this one, sort of the top of the ankle, you'll feel, ooh, that feels nice. You can imagine that section getting really tight as we wear shoes every day. Maybe we're losing a bit of our strength and mobility in the ankle, and this is just helping bring it back. Fantastic. Let's switcheroo to the other side. Dorsiflexion, so toes to nose. Inversion, sole of the foot to the right. Leg comes in nice and close. Choose your driver. And just letting that joint slowly shift in and out of position. Don't be surprised if you found one side was a little more tight and sticky than the other. That is quite normal for most of us. We're going to do two more. And then both legs in the air. Give them a big old shake. Hug your knees into your body. Rock and roll through your spine. And then once you've come all the way up into sitting, you're going to stretch your legs forward. And we're actually going to floss the spinal cord, which feels unbelievable. So you're going to curl your chin into your chest and round your back. Now, it works a lot better if your tailbone pulls back. So a cool analogy is that there's a string attached to your tailbone, someone's gliding it backwards, and your upper back stays flexed, chin on chest. Now, as you pull the toes to the nose, you're again going to get into that sciatic nerve branching, but I want you to focus on your upper back, and one of the ways that we can target the neural floss of the spine is by creating a little rotation and a sort of bob with the body going left and right. Curling the chin in a little more. Slow breaths. Noticing if one side feels different to the other. And then use your autonomy. Go to that
new place and hang out there. The place that's asking you to stay a little longer. And then we're going to come into the center, relax the feet, relax the head, and the arms roll all the way up into sitting. Now, we've been talking about the tension of a nerve, kind of taking the two ends really far apart. But did you know you can also slack a nerve by bringing the two ends of the nerve closer together? So I want you to shift, cross ankles, roll over onto your knees, and I want you to sit back, hips on heels. Normally, what we do to tension a nerve is do a little flexed spine. So we're going to do the opposite. You're going to arch your back. You're going to imagine a hook attached to your breastbone, and it's pulling your breastbone up really, really tall. Your breath is really free through the ribs and the tummy. And you're relaxing in the position without collapsing. So there's that fine line between feeling that your body has got enough tension to be strong and supported without kind of crossing over into that gripping sensation. Awesome. We can also experience a slack that looks a little bit like a yoga pose you all know very well. Bring your hands down, bring your pelvis down, and then pointy toes into your scorpion cobra. I always forget the name of this one because it's kind of like a combo, so forgive me for making up my own name today. Now normally with a true slack we're completely relaxed. This has of course got a bit of tension because you're having to hold yourself up, but it's still doing your body loads of good. That as we go into any kind of back bend, although the space that the spinal cord lives in gets smaller, the tension on the spinal cord decreases. So any kind of back bend is usually really nice to relieve tension in the cord. Nice. Let's bring that back down. And you might want to just watch me for a quick second. We're going to do something called Trendelenburg. Really fancy name. You don't have to remember. But what it essentially is in a three-legged dog, your pelvis sort of clunking in almost what looks like a collapse, and then going back up into an open hip. So you can join me now. Get into your three-legged dog, really strong right leg, and then feel that right side of your pelvis going down and up 5 times. When you've done the 5th one, I want you to bring your knee into your chest, place the foot forward, and I forgot to say at the beginning of this class, you will need something soft for your knee. Just quickly go grab that. I mean, not everyone does, but just to be kind to your body during this flossing flow, we're actually going to experience the same flosses that we did on the ground here, but really quickly. We're not going to take as long. Both hands coming down either side of your front leg. Pull into your Ardha Hanuman. Remember, tailbone is being pulled back by that imaginary piece of string. However, upper back is flexed forward, including the head. And then we're just going to do a few ankle rolls. So we're sort of targeting those 3 nerves at once. Your peroneal, your sural, and your tibial. And change direction on your ankle circles. Observing how the different shape of the ankle changes the sensation traveling through the back of the leg. Well done. Once you've done that last one, back up onto your fingertips, pull the knee in a little bit closer to your chest, sole of the foot is strong, and we're going to come up, but the back leg is going to be a little different. Ooh, it's like you're turning into a warrior too. Your foot is pointing towards the long right side of your mat, pelvis towards the long left side of your mat. Sorry, rights and lefts. After 13 years of teaching, you think I'd have them. There's only 2. Apologies. So you've got your front leg, and what we're going to do is focus on the back leg, right? So as you push forward into that right leg, you're going to feel that stretchy inner thigh on the left leg. You're going to actually tuck your tailbone for this one, so it's like a long lower back, and your upper back is going to round over an imaginary ball. Interlace the fingers on the back of your head and sort of windshield wiper your upper back over the front leg, over the back leg, just repeatedly. We're now starting to target something called the obturator nerve. the one that feeds into your inner thigh. And as we mobilize and get a little deeper, maybe you've got more space now that you can explore. This one always makes me feel so good. Very, very cool, team. Hopefully that feels really nice in your body. Ease out of it. Give yourself a little wiggle. We are going to do one more on our right leg. You're going to square yourself back off to the front of the mat. Curl your back toes under. Let's come into a warrior one. So front knee is bent 90 degrees. Back foot 45. Now, ordinarily, what we're always taught is that you need to really heavily press the outer edge of your back foot. But to get the nerve called the saphenous nerve, we actually want to break the rules a bit and collapse the inner arch of our back leg. We also want to almost lift the outer edge of the foot, so you'll feel like you're doing all the wrong things, and it's about to get worse because normally we've got a tall upper body. We're going to keep the tuck on our tailbone, but we're going to again round over that ball. So it looks like a sad warrior. Now again, we're going to get the spinal cord involved into the saphenous nerve by rotating our upper back left and right, left and right. And hopefully you can feel the front of the hip where it maybe feels a little bit sticky. And if you're not in that 3 out of 10 intensity, either go deeper or back off. You're always listening to your body. Marvelous job. Now let's get into old school yoga mode. Get flat again through the little toe border of the foot. Big circle on the left arm into warrior two. We're going to start doing a few flosses now for the arms. So take your left hand onto your hip, high five with your right hand, and then take the left ear to listen to the shoulder. Good. Now we're pulling on both ends of the nerve. So this is your median nerve, the one that gives you the rude middle finger. But you feel in that middle part of your palm. Let's lift the head back up to neutral and then floss from the head up and down, just for 5. Because one of my absolute favorite flosses that we often forget for hand and arm flosses is actually the shoulder. So keep the head down and then tune into that right shoulder and lift and lower it up and down. Feeling that there's maybe a little shaky quality to the mapping of this joint. But how it really switches on that neural floss as the shoulder glides down. And we're going to do one more. Awesome. Straighten up through that leg. Give your legs a little shimmy. You've been holding that for ages. Well done. Turn your right toes in, left toes out. So we're just giving this arm a bit of a break. And what we're going to do is we're going to push out through the elbow, and then you're going to bend the elbow until you're talking basically on an upside down hand. Now remember, you're not going to feel the ulnar nerve, if the shoulder is up. So you really want to keep it down. And you also want to tune into this wrist. Make sure that the wrist has got a nice big extended position. Let's go back to the head, yeah? 5 of those, down and up. Legs are straight. You want to just give your legs a little chance to catch a breather. Nice. And then we're going to listen away from the arm, and we're going to go back into the shoulder, gliding up and down. Maybe going, whoa. Hello, ulnar nerve. Jeez. Okay, team, both hands down. Now, big cartwheel with the arms from warrior two, whee, all the way down, framing your left foot. You're going to slide that left leg into our 3-legged dog. And just like we did before, we practiced that funny word, Trendelenburg, where the pelvis collapses and then opens again. Pelvis collapses and then opens. And really, guys, this is really not from the leg. This is from the pelvis. So make sure that it's the pelvis tilting that gives the leg the illusion of movement. And what we're actually flossing is the leg on the floor. Hopefully you can feel as that pelvis collapses, there's that electric sensation traveling into the foot. Now bring the knee into the chest, step the foot forwards, If you need a cushion under your knee, grab it now. Hands are going to frame either side of your front leg. Imaginary string pulls the tailbone back. Ball underneath your sternum, curve over it. And then let the body do that little weird side to side glide. Feeling your spinal cord again. And then we're going to settle into the body and just circle a few times in the ankle. Noticing that we've got tibial, sural, and peroneal nerves. Change the direction of your ankle circle. And keep trying to lengthen that lower back as you flex your upper back. And if you find that there's particularly one little magic spot that makes you feel wonderful as you go into it, use the next 3 seconds to give that spot a bit of love. Now we're going to bend the front knee, sole of the foot strong, pressing down through the earth to root to rise your upper back. Back foot, you're going to spin it to the long left side of your mat. Hips are facing the long right side of your mat. Hands on your pelvis first. Gain a sense of the shape of your pelvis. And then really exaggerate a little tuck. If the knee collapses, give that booty a chance to pull it out over the little toe. Step 1, right inner thigh now as we go forwards. When you're like, yeah, I think I've got it. Interlace the fingers on the back of the head. Curve over your imaginary ball. And then start to just move that body side to side. And just as a reminder, this one is called obturator. The obturator nerve feeding that inner thigh complex. Well done. Last couple. And then remember to very gently ease out of these new positions. Bring the back foot in a little closer. Spin back to the front. We're going to rise up into good old-fashioned warrior 1. Hands coming onto your pelvis. Back leg. This is where we get a little bit naughty. And we collapse the instep. We lift the outer border of the foot. The hands on the pelvis giving you that sense of a long tailbone. Maybe mimic the ball with your fist under your sternum to curve over. Get sad. Sad arms. Sad warrior. Letting your body rotate left and right. This one is unbelievable after a long day at the desk. So enjoy the sensations. It might be lower or more shallow than mine. No judgment. Enjoy where you are. Okay, easing out of that front leg now. Big cartwheel with your right arm. Inhaling, arm up. Yeah, back into our warrior 2 position. Right hand on the hip. High five with your left hand. Right ear listens away. Once you've got that 3 out of 10, the head lifts and lowers 5 times. When number 5 is done, take the ear to the shoulder on the right and hold that shape. Shift the mind into the left shoulder now as it lifts and lowers. Very good. Straightening it through the front leg. Turn the toes parallel. Maybe you want to adjust, be a little bit closer to be more comfortable. We're going to shift the right foot forwards now. And again, high five with your right hand. This time bending the elbow, and let the ear drift to the left. Let's rise and lower. Just the head moving on its own. Pulling the brain from the little finger. This is your ulnar nerve. Previous one was median. Keep the head to the side. Bring your mind into your right shoulder as you rise and lower. Fantastic. Extend through that arm. Bring the hand down. Feet parallel. Because you've done a lot of like serious stillness and holdings and flossings. Give your body a little moment of silliness and floppiness, just to loosen out the intensity. Before I teach you a couple of other flosses for your arms, let's do a couple of slacks. We're going to start off with the left arm pushing away your median nerve. And whenever you want to do a slack, if you're not sure how, take the tension position, and each joint is going to go into the opposite shape. So in this instance, we'll make a fist. We'll drop the knuckles down to the ground. We'll bend the elbow. We'll internally rotate. And we'll adduct the arm. We're going to lift the shoulder up, and we're actually going to listen to the left arm. Now whenever you do a slack, you want to try and make the body part that you're slacking as floppy as possible. So really just enjoy letting go. And then we're going to unfurl. Let's high five with the median nerve on the right hand. Make a fist. Drop your knuckles. Bend the elbow. Internally rotate. Adduct the arm. I think I called it abduct the first time. It's obviously very wrong. Shoulder elevation. Take the right ear to the right shoulder and hold it there. And then just let go. Really, really soften through that arm. Three more slow breaths. Relaxing your jaw and the tension between your eyebrows. And then you're going to unfurl that right arm. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, down. There are lots of other nerves, by the way, for the arms and the legs, but I don't want this class to be too long. Let's just close our practice by crossing our legs, coming down onto a seat. And I want you to realize that you can do something called movement exploration. And what this means is that whenever you take the two ends of a nerve far apart and you start to like glide and move and shift, this is great for the nerves. But what's even better about it than what I have been teaching you till now is that it's your intuition that's guiding you. So for example, we're going to do a little arm floss exploration together, where you'll notice I am just basically doing a weird little seaweed dance. Seaweed, i.e. in the water, floating around, just sort of doing its own weird shapes. And the shape of the head and neck and upper back constantly moving. Your arm constantly exploring. And if it's not that electric feeling that traces an exact line, do not even worry about it. The fact that you are moving and you're getting your head out of neutral, all of this is doing your nerves the world of good. Oh, I hope that felt really amazing. Oakley, what have you got there? Our golden retriever's just come to say goodbye to all of you. Please take a Shavasana. Come here. Please take a Shavasana and enjoy the rest of your day. What have you got there? She wants me to play with her. So, Lots of love, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you on the next video. And for all of you who've joined me for this neural flossing flow to be a part of the mailing list, it has been so good to get to know you. Remember, you can just hit reply on all of my emails, and I'll always do my best to respond to you as soon as possible.